I was considering merging this video into tonight's live stream if I'm going to have a live stream tonight, but I thought better of it because it would kind of confuse the rest of the topics. It's not. It really kind of stands on its own. Um, Last week was Martin Luther King Day. That was about, well, 8 days ago. So yeah, it was last Monday. So a lot of people were doing a lot of Martin Luther King Day themed stuff. On my live stream, I kind of didn't really cover it so much. I did, bandy about the topic or whatever. I think it is a holiday that's really become politicized beyond what Martin Luther King wanted it to be. Now, the best evidence of this is even people discussing that getting attacked. And one of the people was Dave Rubin, who last week commented on his direct message that Martin Luther King might have been a socialist, might have been a capitalist, might have been a communist, but in reality, a lot of people are misconstruing his message about the need for Americans to judge each other by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin. As I'm paraphrasing, but basically that his point was that we cannot take that message and claim that his legacy has been carried on faithfully to the present day, because as many of his guests talk about, yes, there's discrimination nowadays, corrective discrimination, if you can call it, against what you would call privileged classes. And you can see that from the guests he has, such as James Damore and Neil Kalhatkar and Faisal Said Al-Muhtar. He has a lot of ex-Muslims on. Gad Saad. A lot of people that are generally considered to have politically incorrect views. Jordan Peterson. Another one would probably be Sam Harris. A lot of people like that. And he prides his channel on being about ideas and not people. And you could probably hear him talk about all the time. So sometimes it kind of gets boring. He says it all the time. You want him to kind of take the muzzle off and attack somebody. Now, he was attacked by Sam Seder, who has a show called The Majority Report with Sam Seder. I think it's also on the radio, but I'm not quite sure. And Sam Seder is kind of like the poor man's David Pakman. He's a little less. His posture isn't as good as David Pakman, and he looks like he's probably not keeping as good hygiene, and he looks a little more depressed than David Pakman, but they're the same type of moron. And Dave Rubin might not do ad hominems, but I do, and I'd say that David Pakman and Sam Seder are probably two of the most dishonest and sycophantic YouTubers that there are, who kiss up to the political establishment, and they go along with the neoliberal message, and maybe they do believe in it. That's not really the point, but you can see pretty much from their content that they have utter contempt for people that are at the grassroots level who disagree with establishment liberalism. Okay, people, for example, climate skeptics, they consider them to be cavemen. They despise, holy shit. To stop playing with small little desk objects here like that. That was like a USB thing. But look, there's an issue with people like that, where they think that if you criticize their message, then you are, pretty much promoting bigotry. Now, what did he have a problem with? He had a problem with Dave Rubin taking the Martin Luther King Day, reaction video and using it to dispute the notion that Martin Luther King was a socialist. Now, if you watch Rubin's video, he doesn't say that Martin Luther King was not a socialist, but he does say that if you look at what many of these modern day socialists advocate, it's contrary to King's message. They don't preach for actual equality. They preach for some sort of corrective discrimination, and it happens all the time. Now, I think he did go a little off message and slide into this general attack on socialism, but that's not the point. The point was that there are a lot of people on the socialist left that find convenient people to promote their socialist agenda, including the late Martin Luther King. Okay, now I'm not going to debate that either. I think it's possible that Martin Luther King had a lot of socialist beliefs. I don't know what his affiliation was. Some people still continue to call him a Republican. Some people, some Republicans and some people on the right claim that he was controlled by communists, because there were people who were communists within his organizing groups. Hunter Pitts Odell, for example. That's not the topic for today. But if you watch this video, and I have the URL below, so you can go watch it from beginning to end, the Sam Seder reaction video. These are people, they attacked Rubin personally, and they behaved like he was attacking socialism by saying, oh, the greater good isn't important, and that Martin Luther King wasn't in it for the greater good. Well, I think that, for somebody like Seder, who I think it was maybe a month ago, he lost a position as a commentator with MSNBC, pretty much because of a comment he made years ago about Roman Polanski and his daughter, and how he'd want his daughter to be raped, possibly by a very talented director, and he claims that it was a joke. Okay, it was a joke, guys. Ha ha. He of all people should know that. Yeah, you can twist people's words, and that's what these socialists are doing with Martin Luther King. Yeah, yes, Martin Luther King probably had a number of socialist ideas, but it's not like it's a cut and dry association. Now, if you really wanted to, if you really want to twist the knife, I think it would be very interesting if Sam Seder played the clip of Malcolm X that I've also included in the description, where he relates that basically white liberals are like the fox. They're deceptive and they smile to black people, but they really are just as racist as the conservative white man. And I think that that goes to the point that I was making to Alex and Carlos and 80 last week in my live stream, that I think Malcolm X was a very honest and much more courageous figure than people give him credit for. I think he, in my opinion, his message makes a lot more sense to me than Martin Luther King's does. I mean, I'm not a black person, but I see a lot of the there's a lot of truth in his perceptions. Okay, it's not about agreeing with many of his beliefs, because I think for most of his career, he did not like white people. You could call him an anti-white racist for a portion of his career. But he was also a very honest person about his beliefs. He wasn't a person who sugarcoated it with all this language of inclusion and whatever. In many ways, Malcolm X was truly, if liberals really wanted to be honest with themselves, they would acknowledge that they want the world that Malcolm X sought to bring about, kind of some type of black separatism and all of that. Except the one thing that they leave out is the do-it-yourself component that Malcolm X advocated for. They don't want that, because they want somebody else to do for the blacks. They believe in this liberal guilt complex. Now, one of the reasons I think that Sam Seder attacked Dave Rubin is out of jealousy, and I'll show you some of the statistics. It wasn't as easy as I thought it would be, but you can see that the Rubin Report has 600,000 subscribers, and it's going up. This is on Vital Analysis, I think, Vital Statistics, VideoAmigo.com. Okay, that's what it's called. And then you look at Sam Seder, and his is also, I think, going up, but not quite the pace. And to be honest with you, I didn't know it was that sharp of a difference. But Dave Rubin has 3 times the audience that Sam Seder does. Now, 200,000 subscribers is nothing to laugh at. When, of course, I don't have that many subscribers either. But Sam Seder is definitely attacking somebody who is, and he's even on the radio too, so he has a bit of an advantage over over Dave Rubin in terms of platforms. But he's still, he's not growing nearly at the pace that Dave Rubin is on YouTube, and YouTube has a brighter future right now than terrestrial radio does. And you could probably see some of the similar statistics on this, which is socialblade.com, which there's subscriber gains. Dave Rubin still beats Sam Seder by about 8,000 in the past 30 days. Now, this isn't just a numbers game. The question would be, who makes the better point? Now, one of the reasons that Sam Seder attacked Dave Rubin is probably because on Rubin's channel, he doesn't really go after people. He more focuses, he tries to make the channel more positive than social media is. I think on Twitter or something, apparently he's more willing to engage with people and confront them. But Sam Seder knows that he has a convenient target here that won't strike back on YouTube. And I think it's a show of weakness. Yes, Dave Rubin, he possibly went and made a couple assumptions about Martin Luther King, but he was reacting to a general wave of assumptions by socialists and by people on the left about Martin Luther King. So it's pretty much it's a reaction in kind. It's an appropriate reaction. When somebody is making an assumption, you can react and say, well, I would have assumed otherwise. There's really no need to attack Dave Rubin for this. And Dave Rubin wasn't attacking anybody specifically. In his video, he only mentions the Socialist Party official website, official Twitter account, attacked him. And he, that's not attacking an ad hominem. It's attacking an organization and saying, look, you guys can call me out, but the fact is that ABC. So, I've watched Sam Seder a number of times. I have to say it's almost painful to watch the show in terms of it's very boring. It's snarky people that they're there and they're constantly just they try to make themselves out to be edgy. They're kind of they're not just a poor man's Dave Pakman. They're a poor man's the Young Turks. And in fact, when they have guests on, they don't really treat them with the due collegiality that's required. Sometimes I'll have a live stream. I'll get a bit confrontational, but nothing compared to these guys. I saw Tim Black, who's a progressive, go on the Sam Seder show, and they pretty much laughed at him because he was asking questions about Seth Rich, and they call him basically a conspiracy theorist and a Bernie bro. Well, what right do you have to laugh, Sam Seder? I mean, I may have a small channel, and Tim Black might also have a smaller channel than you do, but he's actually gaining very fast on Majority Report. I mean, let me go and type in Tim Black. His channel is also growing. It's 105,000. So Sam Seder is behaving as if these more committed progressives like Sam Seder, like Tim Black. Sorry, Sam Seder is behaving like people like Tim Black are kooks or whatever. Those people are growing. Sam Seder might be growing as well, but not at the rate that the people on the right, like Dave Rubin, I guess, is technically considered on the right compared to him, and Tim Black is also growing. So he's seeing encroachment on both sides. And how does he react? He doesn't react by actually debating ideas or putting forth proposals or having a respectable debate with people like that. He acts like they're the losers and they're the crackpots or whatever. Excuse me, you guys lost the election, so you have no right to gloat at the right about anything. In fact, you're pretty much shit out of luck right now, which we're gonna get to in the live stream. Hopefully, if I do it today. The other issue is you're laughing at all these progressives that you need to get to vote for your corrupt candidates next time. If you can't get them to vote for your corrupt candidates, you pretty much don't have anything. You don't have anybody to talk to. Who are you trying to gain? You have contempt for people on the right because you think that they're barbaric, inbred cousin fuckers. And then you have contempt for people who are to the left of you because you think that they're a bunch of fanatical utopian idiots. Okay, and nobody else. If everybody just thought the way you do, everything would be perfect. That's the way that they see the world, and that's the way they behave. I mean, it's okay to think that way, but to behave that way towards other people, that's really the problem. And you know, especially towards somebody like Dave Rubin, who, you know, I think Dave Rubin is a great YouTuber. His whole gay rights thing. Okay, I don't support everything that he does, which is exactly what he always says. He doesn't support everything that his guests say, but he loves to, you know, have them come in, explain their positions, even debate each other, and it usually turns out to be amazing. Most of his interviews are great. You know, you have to hand it to him. Anything you don't like about him, whatever. But if you watch his shows, they're fantastic. And I highly doubt that if you asked to be on his show, Sam Seder, you wouldn't be given the due respect that you deserve. So that's all I have to say. I'm not going to be the dead horse. Let me know what you think. See the videos themselves. I couldn't find the MLK video from Rubin. Maybe it was taken down or something, but it's featured a bit on Sam Seder's video. So yeah, I'd be glad to hear your analysis of it. And by the way, follow all of my accounts below and help us grow as well and spread some of these viewpoints to some of your other acquaintances.